All right, everybody. Welcome back to the kleen-Rite Radio podcast. I'm sitting here with my good buddy, Marc Tyndale, and I am Fix It with Phil. Marc, how you doing today, bud?
Phil, I'm doing great. Thanks for being here with me today. We're really enjoying doing this podcast, and
Absolutely.
We're excited about what we're going to talk about today. It's a beautiful day in Pennsylvania, and we should be doing this outside.
Yeah, it's a great day for car washing, that's for sure.
It really is. The washes are busy. So today, we're going to talk about something called SWOT analysis. It is something that I think every operator should do annually. I don't think most of them probably do it. Maybe they do it in their own way. It's not a formal application, but whether you have 1 or 3 or 5 sites, performing a SWOT analysis, and I'm going to tell you what that means here in a second, is just a good heartbeat on your business, and it will help you look forward and look back. And looking back really makes you a better operator.
Yeah.
And looking forward makes you an even better operator. And
Being prepared.
We talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
And it will help you with your consistency and your revenues. So let's jump right into what SWOT stands for.
What is a SWOT analysis?
So it is your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities out there, and then your threats. And I think there's no category that does not apply to any operator out there, which is why people do this.
Yeah,
all businesses do this.
I would agree 100% with that.
So I think the in-base self-serve market, there's so many strengths that people do not take advantage of. What are the top ones that come to your head if I just say go?
One of the biggest strengths is we're open 24/7. Customers can use your lot 24/7. So if you're providing that's 24/7 service and you have good lighting out there and you're making people feel comfortable with, good security, stuff like that, you can definitely take advantage over top of, a lot of other businesses that are out there by providing a 24/7 service.
Yeah. And another great strength is, if you have a decent location, people know what you are. They drive by, they're like, that's a car wash.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need a sign that says, I'm a car wash.
Yeah.
You should brand your site rather than just saying it's a car wash.
Yeah.
I think that's a valid point. You're local. Most car washes are small, privately held, family sometimes they're partners, but you're local. The community knows you, you know them. It's a great strength to take advantage of but there's always more that you can do to increase that strength.
Jumping into my head right away is Grace for Vets. That is a huge opportunity to be, a bigger part in your community is just offering the Grace for Vets wash. People notice that and they appreciate it and they want to give back to you just like you're giving to them.
I do tee it up for the troops, which is a really good benefit that we provide washes to and gifts for raising money for all branches of the veterans as well.
Yeah.
So there's tons of that that you can get a hold of, make it your own. And what are some other strengths? Because sometimes the strengths and the weaknesses can be the same thing.
Customer service.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big one. That's either a really heavy strength or a really heavy weakness. And that can be as small as, when a customer comes up to you to talk to you, what's your attitude towards them? Do you have a positive attitude or do you immediately feel like they're going to complain at you? If you feel like every customer that comes to talk to you is going to complain at you, it's probably for good reason.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why you do this analysis. So who do you think, I know we talked about it, should help you do the SWOT analysis? Because I don't think you should do it by yourself.
Absolutely not. You should not do it by yourself.
Get a second set of eyes on it.
Yeah. So whether you can, if you have friends in the biz per se, you could have another operator that's doing a great job help you do a SWOT analysis. You could get an outside third party. If you had a friend that was in another line of business,
any business
that is, successful, they can obviously help you run a SWOT analysis for your business.
And a lot of your strengths and weaknesses are basic business principles that are applied to a car wash.
Yeah, so
That's the takeaway.
car washing is not just about creating clean cars and picking up trash, right? There's more legwork to go into that, and the SWOT analysis is just an easy way to put that all in one package and really just help yourself run a better business.
So we just mentioned the strengths. Let's take those and assume that some of those strengths are weaknesses. Like,
let's turn them over.
Like you have no community involvement. That's a huge weakness.
That's awful.
You have a great traffic count, but you're not taking advantage of it because your curb appeal stinks, right? Let's face it, a lot of car washes are bland.
It's dark and dingy. You can't even tell that it's a car wash.
Right. You're not taking care of yourself or your customers by not having curb appeal. Landscaping, it can be a strength or a weakness.
Yep.
I mean, there's just the
proper
list, proper lighting, cleanliness, like you talked about before, layout. Sometimes it takes a very simple change to turn a weakness or a strength the other way. Guys will, or gals, operators will put sometimes device or a vacuum in absolute to try to pick up, a couple extra dollars. They'll put something in and it will block their stacking, and they just over time these things snowball, and then they add on to each other.
Yeah, my favorite saying for that is jumping over dollars to pick up pennies. And I guess in this instance it would be to pick up quarters, but
yes. And I've had we've made some really bold moves in our operations where we actually would cut bays down. I've done that twice where I took a bay out. I have a double size equipment room.
Yeah.
I'm able to put in the equipment that I want. I've raised the roof on bays. When rather than just replacing the roof, I raised the roof.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things you can do to make you want people to enjoy themselves washing. And if their coat is rubbing the walls, you probably have a built-in issue.
Yeah.
That you might want to take a look at.
Yeah, that's a tight experience, right?
Yeah. Bright, wide, open bays that you can.
I never heard of anybody raising the roof on their wash, but that's
I've done it.
Yeah, that's a great concept.
2 blocks to them. To a lot of old washes out there that maybe were, especially in the South, were 6 or 8 or 10 self-serve bays. That they're low.
Yeah,
and they call us all the time. They're like, "I would love to add an in-bay." Well, put a couple block on the wall, and you can, because most in-bays will not fit in 10-foot high or 11-foot wide bays. And I spent a better part of my living helping people do that.
Vehicles are getting bigger and bigger.
Yes. And equipment's getting bigger, not smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now people want to wash all different kinds of stuff. So let's roll into, I think we hit that pretty good. I guess.
Yeah,
that's a good word. Let's talk about opportunities. Right. We jotted a few down here. I'm not going to say we're doing all this off memory, but the opportunities, revenue. Are you taking advantage of all the revenue that you can take advantage of? Are your prices set properly to your area and to the services that you provide? Time is an opportunity. We sell time.
We do.
In the self-serve bays, we sell time. In the in-bays, we sell speed and quality, right? And
which still relates to time, right? We're trying to give a very good wash in a very timely manner.
Yeah, and I think people fall into the trap. I've bought a lot of in-bays. I've sold a lot of in-bays in my life, and people get hung up a lot on time of the in-bay. I see it a lot on the chat rooms. And really, you want the best in-bay that is going to do the best job for your customer base. And you want to focus, I think, more on that. If you're super concerned about volume, then you probably need 2 in-bays,
right,
or 3.
It's time to buy another machine.
It's time to buy another in-bay, yes. Because they're all really kind of lumped into. There's no magic bullet in that world.
On how much time a cycle should take.
The throughput, right? Yeah, right. And another opportunity that is out there is industry resources. Like, are you using the ICA? Are you using your distributor's knowledge? Go ahead. You were gonna.
Yeah, I was chiming in on exactly what you were saying there. Right? Are you going to the events that are out there to learn more and grow? Right? Are you putting the time in to go into the ICA, or maybe it's the Southwest show, or whatever that looks like, to learn more, right?
And technology is a great opportunity, right? Are
Yeah.
you able to open a door from your phone instead of running out there every time to open a door? Can you, little things like we do, we can open a door for the service guy that's coming out, a lot of little things like that can make your life a lot easier. VFDs, can you save energy? Can you save money? Are you taking opportunities of technology with new equipment to
give a better experience or give a better end result for your customer, but at the same time saving yourself on those energy costs?
And those opportunities that we're talking about, we talk about this all the time. We're trying to provide more of an experience today, and less of a utilitarian function. And the only way to do that is to lean on technology and lean on a second set of eyes.
Yeah. So I want to jump back for a second and tie these two things together, and that is time. You had said about, that time is an opportunity and that we sell time. So it's, we talked a lot about in-bays there for a second right after we talked about time, but we didn't really stress on time in a self-serve bay. So, to kind of focus in on that for a second, having a full meter dial with functions that work all the time, that work the same way all the time, there's that consistency again, is going to raise your time per customer in that bay as well, which is only going to increase your revenue.
And knowledge, knowing what's out there is key too. I had a meeting yesterday afternoon, as a matter of fact, met with a local operator who wants to upgrade their equipment. Their self-serve bays have gone south a little bit, and they know it. Admittedly, they also operate oil change and a tunnel next to it. And first thing I asked them is, I said, well, we're going to sell you this new equipment. All's good. What price and time are you going to use?
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know, $2, $2.50. I said, well, that's what you are now. And he said, well, what are your car washes, which are right down the road, by the way, and we're friends. I said, well, I'm $5. He goes, oh, well, why would I be any less? And I said, I don't know why you would be any less.
Yes. When was the last time you went around and looked what your local competition was charging?
Right. And it's a good guy, good family, and they're about to spend $100,000, and $2 more per car
start time
just because of a conversation is kind of interesting. So part of that SWOT analysis is knowing what's out there.
Yeah.
Right. For your opportunity side. A big opportunity that is customer acquisition. So, Phil, you have your customers. Do you know every customer? Do you think that do you feel like you have every customer there is to obtain and you're doing a fantastic job?
Absolutely not.
Right. So
I can always do better. You can always do better at a site.
And there's a way to obtain these customers. And one of them is, spending a little money to obtain them through marketing, advertising. Customer acquisition is a more modern approach to self-serve and in-bay, whereas before it was build it and they will come. Now you have to build it, let them come, and then start marketing to everybody that's not coming.
Right.
And I think it works.
So on the other side of that, maybe you're a little apprehensive on, diving headfirst into, spending a bunch of money on advertising and whatnot. The secondary part of that would be, are you on social media? Is your branded car wash
free
on
advertising?
Facebook? Are you on Instagram? Are you on all these different platforms where you can easily and pretty much freely promote yourself and your business and what you have to offer to the community and to passerbys?
Yeah. And I know in my situation, we had to ask for help with GoDaddy and Google and Facebook and Instagram, which I don't have Instagram. I know you try to send me Instagram stuff. I can't open it all the time. We're in a different generation, but we get along just fine. So,
but it's a great resource, and it's a great way to dip your toes into trying to get yourself, onto the internet per se, or anything of that nature.
Yeah, and the other opportunity is just going back to the strength one is participating in the community. You get a lot of customers through through your generosity of helping baseball teams or
fundraising.
Yeah. You get a lot of good press from that. So
yeah, giving a little bit away now and then gets you a lot back in the long run.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. And so what other opportunities do you see out there that as part of the SWOT analysis, or should we just move on to threats?
Let's jump right into threats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which we think is probably threats are the thing that you want to pay the attention to the most.
Yeah. This is what you always have to be focused on.
So let's say you've gone through the SWOT analysis, you've checked all the boxes and strengths, right? You're like, I'm awesome.
Yeah. I'm the best at this there's ever been.
I'm unbelievable. I have no weaknesses. And now I'm taking advantage of all the opportunities.
I want to meet this person immediately.
I want to meet this operator. And then you get to threats, and all of a sudden there's threats.
And what's the biggest threat?
Yourself. Right. If you've answered, I'm taking advantage of all the first three. Mm-hmm. Okay, you are your worst threat.
Absolutely.
So this is where you need a little assistance. You need a little help.
This is why you get the outside perspective.
Yep. Get a real threat analysis. Mm-hmm. And let's talk about some of those threats. Some of these threats that we kind of jotted down in our run through, some you can control.
Some you can't.
Most you can't.
So I want to hit one that you can't control right away and then, offer up a balancing act for that, and that's weather.
Weather you cannot control.
Right? We can't control weather, which is obviously going to affect our revenue, but what you can do to balance that out is offer clubs.
Yeah, offer subscriptions, and that gives you daily, weekly, hourly revenue, whether the people use it or not. We talk a lot in our in-person seminars about subscriptions, and there is still a tremendous amount of apprehension in the self-serve and in-bay world that it is untapped. And we're here to tell you, Phil does very well in self-serve subscription plans.
Yep, absolutely.
I do very well in the in-bay subscription programs. I would like to find that silver bullet for the self-serve subscription and run with it.
We'll work on it.
We'll work on that.
Yeah, we'll work on that together.
Yeah. And so back on the weather, right? You do have control sometimes of the weather. A lot of older car washes have let maybe their floor heat go, or they're not running their heaters, or they don't want to upgrade their doors. So the weather is controlling them. So you can't control the weather, but there are certain things you can do to make the weather conditions better for your car wash.
Agreed, 100% with that. And I think, to flip that a little bit, the other thing that you can do is take advantage of the days that you do have bad weather. Those are the days that you make sure everything works perfectly.
Diligence, right? Yeah. So that goes back to our last session where we talked about consistency, and you have to be consistently diligent.
Yeah.
Especially when there's bad weather. We see it here at kleen-Rite. The phones start ringing when it gets cold because folks, in the South aren't ready.
Yep.
They didn't blow their lines out. People in the North are a little bit more ready for it. We have the weep systems and we have the heat, although we still get a lot of calls because people they were sleeping on the job.
Yeah, we're not roofers. You don't get a day off when it rains.
That's you are. That's a good. I like that. All right. So other threats, right? We have one that you can't control, and that's inflation.
Yep.
And you can look at that. You can look at inflation two different ways. I'm a little bit older. 6-7% interest rates are not really a big deal for folks 50, 60 and older. They're a huge deal for, I would say, your generation because they've never seen it.
Yeah, I see 6, 7, 8% and I kind of get the little heebie-jeebies, but I do also understand that, I could wait the next 5 years out hoping that they're going to come down and just consistently watch them climb. The one thing that we can do is, if you're ready, if you need to invest. If the rates fall, refinance. Be strategic about what you're doing with your money.
I'll give you a perfect example of this because I used to run into this in my distributorship, and people would say, "Well, I'm waiting for the rates to fall." Okay, how long are you going to wait? Because I have never, since 1980, 89 or 91, whenever I started.
Mark, I was born in 87.
I know, and I love you for that. But I have never seen equipment or supplies or consumables go down.
Never.
So, and especially the last couple years, things have climbed greatly. So if you're buying it today and you're worried about interest rates, okay, wait 2 years. The interest rates might be lower, but that equipment or that thing that you're going to purchase is probably going to be 10% higher.
Or the labor that you're going to pay to have it put in.
Labor.
Right?
Yeah.
Labor is a huge one.
Labor has climbed the last 5 years unbelievably.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So
if you're waiting the storm out to reinvest in equipment or in your site,
you are your biggest threat.
Yeah, grab an umbrella because you're going to be here for a while.
So I think it's safe to say that you might be a bigger threat than inflation right now. It's if you're operating in that fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great statement. Maintenance and repair, which kind of goes into that, it's a great threat. So if you have, I know that we put a big investment but we decreased our downtime considerably. Our customer satisfaction, our Google reviews went way up.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a great, in the Mid-Atlantic Northeast, we had a fantastic January, a good February. We're having a great March. And a year ago, we were just paying repair bills because we were running around like chickens with our head cut off trying to make sure machines were up.
Just to keep it
robots were running. And we've had a knock on wood, I'm not supposed to because of the mic, but this Q1, we've had very little downtime because all of our stuff is new.
Mm-hmm. And that's a big part of the SWOT analysis, right? When you're looking at, your past year, 2 years, 3 years, if you're looking at a stack of maintenance bills, it's probably time to be looking at one bill for a brand new machine.
Yeah, and get some depreciation while you're, instead of, just throwing money out the door.
Yeah.
Maintenance is just a pure expense. But when you get new self-serve meter boxes or pumping equipment or new in-bay or new doors, it's all CapEx. And yeah.
CapEx. I want to know what CapEx is.
Capital expenditures, right? So when you buy a capital expenditure and you tell your accountant that was for your facility rather than just a monthly expense, that depreciation comes off your net operating income. And if you are small business owner like a lot of us,
mm-hmm.
and you're paying estimated taxes, it helps because it helps reduce your estimated taxes.
Okay.
And depreciation is a good thing for a business.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people don't like debt, and maybe you're lucky that you don't have to go into debt, but the depreciation is still a good thing. Especially, let's face it, most people that own a car wash probably have another business or they have another job.
Okay.
And if they're a W-2 at their other job, maybe it's not such a big deal. But if let's say we have a lot of customers that are in other businesses, the car wash depreciation really would help them. And they know that. Most of those people know that.
So it's a win-win, right? You get new equipment and you get the depreciation off of purchasing that new equipment, and your customers get better satisfaction. The consistency goes up. It's a chain reaction.
It's always a reason to charge a little bit more,
mm-hmm.
and it's always a great reason to your customers accept that you have to fix and replace things,
mm-hmm.
and they also accept because everybody else is doing it to them too, that they have to pay more,
right?
And don't operate out of fear. Operate out of good business presence and charge what you need to charge. I mean, the market has expanded, and we still have a lot of customers who are charging $1, $1.50. Why is it in a next town over that guy can charge $5? He's in a small town too.
Mm-hmm.
He has confidence, and he has confidence in his equipment. He has confidence in his site and his landscaping and
customer satisfaction.
He's not watching you.
Yeah, he's leading you.
He's leading you, and you're watching him, and you're wondering. And here's another topic: never try to undercut somebody because you're only undercutting yourself.
Yeah,
and I think that's a big threat. That goes back to yourself being a threat.
So I think we're narrowing down. Most of the threats seem to be an internal threat.
Yes,
right.
Yeah. Other than that big one, inflation, which is not going away.
Yeah,
anytime soon. I don't think.
No.
So
no.
But Yeah, I mean, I think we hit the SWOT analysis pretty good.
I think we cleaned up like a SWAT team.
Well, that would be spelled differently, but right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's with an A, not an O. But
Yep.
I feel like we covered that really well. And hopefully that gives everybody out there a good idea of, or actually like a good plan to jump into actually doing a SWOT analysis annually.
And if you need help with a SWOT analysis, we can help you here at kleen-Rite. We will help you.
Yeah, we can steer you in the right direction for sure.
And Phil and I, this won't be the last time we talk about this kind of stuff. A lot of our stuff does blend together.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about this to a very large room at the ICA.
Absolutely.
And then another medium-sized room probably in Missouri, and then probably again in the fall.
We're gonna keep doing this, whether it's with mics right here at the podcast table
or just in our shop
or in the shop.
Yeah, because it's what our passion is to help people improve.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel pretty good about today.
I say we close it out. I want to say thank you to Simonize. We greatly appreciate the sponsorship for this series.
Yeah.
I want to say thanks to Marc for sitting down with me again and talking about car washing.
And thanks to Phil for being the steady hand here today.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you.
Thanks.